If you're happy and and you really want to show that you're happy and stretch a bit. If you're happy and turn around. If you're happy and sit down. At least now my points are coming home. Your faces were making my points to evaporate. We want to look at, is it theological? No, sorry. Right now we're looking at something else. Allow me to switch to that one. Public campus ministry. Kushiba sio mzuri sana. Nasahau. Yeah. Yes, that's where we are now. The vision, mission, core values, motto, objectives, and the structure of public campus ministry. That is where we are. I will begin with the vision. And we know that vision is like our eyes. That is what gives us direction. That is what shapes our going. The Bible says, where there is no vision, people perish. So this ministry has been brought to us, and there are things that we are envisioning. We are looking ahead. So I said vision is key because it's the one that is determining the direction. And the vision of PCM is this: to transform Seventh-day Adventist students on an Adventist campuses into ambassadors and missionaries of Christ. On the campus, in the church, in the community, and in the world at large. You will see from the vision that the 3 C's are not leaving us anytime soon. And that the 3 C's will go with us to the end of PCM. And you will also see that the mission is in line with our philosophy, which we said is enshrined in Genesis 1:26, redemptive in nature, trying to bring back the image of God that was lost in man after sin. And so we say we need to transform our young people in an Adventist campuses and to make them ambassadors. I need not to emphasize on ambassadors because, ambassadors are a representative or representatives of their nations in another nation. So in this case, we are making them to be ambassadors of Christ. And I thank God because it is intertwined. 16 years and above, they are ambassadors of Christ even in the campuses. So we said our work is to transform them, and not just to transform them, but to also make them missionaries. If you remember what I presented in the philosophy, I said the purpose is to make them missionaries. And so everything we do as PCM leaders must aim at transformation. We are not simply trying to keep the students safe. We are not simply trying to keep our students busy. We are raising ambassadors for Christ. So safety is there, yes, they need to be safe, but safe under the wings of Christ, understanding that they are ambassadors of Christ. Having said that, this is our mission. The mission of PCM is to inspire the Seventh-day Adventist students to be disciples of Christ and to empower them to share the everlasting gospel on campus. We disciple them. And that is why when we were dealing with our philosophy, we mentioned matters, mentoring and discipleship. And we had models from the Bible of mentoring and discipleship. I believe at some point, someone will still go back to Follow Me. Follow Me is a discipleship model after Christ. I went over it very fast, and I'm still hopeful that before we end this session, or not this session, but this training, someone will emphasize on the Follow Me. The issue when we talk about discipling, it means there is an element of nurture and retention. We bring them in, we nurture them, and we retain them in the church, which is not happening even in our local churches. We baptize so many, we bring so many in, but again, there is a mass exodus. So PCM is a discipleship ministry, and it is also an evangelistic ministry. We inspire and we empower. And the foundation of this identity is reflected in Paul's words. Our mission of empowering and inspiring is very much informed in what our leader called the text that drives PCM. Be ye followers of me, even as I am of Christ. This is the heartbeat of PCM. We follow Christ so our students can follow us as we follow Christ. So as leaders, it goes without saying that we are role models. They are looking at us for them to succeed as much as they are looking at our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. In PCM, we have the core identity, which incorporates the values, the motto, and the slogan of PCM. So we have the vision, we have the mission, and then we have the motto and the slogan that goes along with our motto. And in a nutshell, we say PCM is guided by 3 core values. One is character. The second one is collaboration. And the third one is challenge. These are 3 C's, different from the ones that we learned in the morning. And they are the core values of PCM. Now, these core values are captured in the value slogan that I will take my time to explain because this can easily be misunderstood. The value slogan of PCM that kind of summarizes the core values are character over competency. Now Benta is about to crucify me because I mentioned this when she asked the question. Collaboration over competition and challenge over criticism. It's important to understand this slogan that encompasses our core values. What do we mean when we talk about character over competency? We simply mean that we don't advocate for competent people who do not have character. We advocate for character and competency. We need accountants who have integrity, who are honest, who fear God, as much as they are qualified and competent in their area of study. My lawyers here, these are law students. We emphasize in PCM character over competence. In other words, we want you to study and become the best lawyers in the Republic of Kenya and beyond. But if that is without character, if that is without dignity, then we don't value that as true education. Actually, if we were in an Adventist education class, would have gone into our philosophy of education, which states that it is the harmonious development. We need people who can collaborate, can coexist with others, and as they do that, it is a meaningful, coexistent collaboration minus competition. Like, let me use the example of Maseno, because there are 3 campuses. You have the other one there, you have the main and here. You need to coexist in a manner that you are one, and it's not that city is competing main and main is competing Yala. We need to exist. We said this is a collaborative ministry. Not that PCM is competing youth ministry, which is part of just scoring in your own goal and you are celebrating. Hey, PCM is powerful, Ambassador Imelala. More than competition. And then we are saying that we need to rise above criticism. When we tell Adam Ban, ambassadors is not doing well, as a PCM leader, now you take that as a challenge. You don't take offense that I've been told I'm not doing well. You take it as a challenge. You take it as a stepping stone towards your success. So those are the kind of young people we are raising in PCM. Competent, but have character. They collaborate without competition. They are criticized, and they are taking that in as a challenge. They don't take grudges. The PCM motto is simple and powerful. And this one we must sing again and again and again. PCM, follow Jesus, embrace his mission, change the world. PCM, follow Jesus, embrace his mission, change the world. And when we talk about the motto is what holds the key ideas that we believe in. The core beliefs of PCM. We want our young people to be transformed, to follow Jesus, to embrace the mission of Christ, and to change the world. But this motto of ours also has a slogan. Maybe what's the difference between a motto and a slogan? A motto could do more of sharing or portraying the ideas and the core beliefs of a particular group or a particular company. But the slogan is a short, can I say, statement or phrase that captures the attention, but not just captures the attention, but promotes the idea or promotes the product that is on market. Like now we have our motto, which shows us the key ideas. The key ideas in PCM is to make disciples. That is to call the students to follow Jesus and embrace the mission of Christ. And then as they embrace the mission, they go out and change the world. But we also have a short phrase that captures their attention and motive of saying, follow Jesus, embrace his mission, and change the world. Because when we disciple them, we are empowering them. By discipling, we are empowering. And then when we send them to mission, we are sending them to change the world and to share the word of Christ. So, in a nutshell, let us put them together now. What is our vision as PCM? What is our mission? What are our core values? And what are our motto, or what is our motto? The vision tells us where we are going. The mission tells us what we do. Our values tell us who we are. And then the motto tells us how we move. That is part one of what we were to study, the mission, vision, core values, and the motto of PCM. Now let us turn to the objectives. And when we talk about objectives of PCM, we are talking of what PCM is designed to accomplish. Why or what it is designed to accomplish. And in the accomplishments of PCM, there are several items. The first in the list is that PCM has a primary goal or a primary objective. And the primary objective of PCM is to inspire, to educate, to equip, and to empower. Who? Seventh-day Adventist students to be disciples of Jesus and to share the everlasting gospel on campus, in church, and in the community. This is to say PCM is not complete minus the 3 C's. You can't say that we are doing PCM and every Sabbath you are just in your worshiping room. You have no plans for mission to go out, to reach the community, to share with the community the word of God. You can't say you are doing PCM and you are disconnected from the church. So this is the primary goal, to ensure that our youths are discipled, our youths are sharing within the context of the 3 C's. This is not optional. This is the mandate of PCM. It is not something that we can take for granted. And that goes straight to the question that we had in the floor. We have many SDA groups in our colleges, but most of them are operating outside this umbrella and this kind of objective. Objective number 2 is to have a collaborative focus, never working in isolation. And therefore, we say PCM is not a standalone ministry. It is a collaborative ministry. It works hand in hand with several general conference departments. And these are the departments that we should collaborate with, and we should always focus to be with them. One is the Adventist Chaplains Ministry, SCM. Why Adventist Chaplaincy Ministry? We know that chaplains are the people who have been employed to assist students in religious matters in their various institutions. Now, and in Central Nyanza Conference, sorry to say, Pastor Buya, we don't have a chaplain. Even what I purport to be chaplain of Maseno, no, I'm a church pastor of Maseno. Because chaplains, yes, a pastor can be a chaplain, but a chaplain is not a pastor. That is for another class. But the moment I am put to oversee even beyond the people of my religion, I become a chaplain. A chaplain goes beyond shepherding a church. He's a spiritual father of all. So we need that chaplaincy ministry because there are people who have been put there. It can be a Catholic person there and others. We need to collaborate and see how our children are, or rather our students are nurtured. Education department, of course, we cannot do without, because we are dealing with schools. And that's why I began by saying we also need to know ourselves better, so that not because I'm the PCM leader of the church, so I'm running left, right, and center. PCM. We need to work with the education department to ensure that even the policies, we don't breach them when we go to schools. Emmanuel will tell us that when we go to schools, we don't go anyhow. There's a way we get into there. And the education department is well placed to guide us in this. And these are departments of the church, of course, which work in collaboration with the government. Ministerial association, this is the department that works closely with the pastors to understand their challenges and how to address them. Sabbath school and personal ministries, we know what personal ministries does to the church. Personal ministries is for lay training and lay activities. And we know that students in our schools are not pastors, they are lay. And so this department comes handy in training, especially on matters of how we do ministry. Public affairs and religious liberty, I had mentioned, this is the department that connects the church and the outside world. So to say, it connects the church with the state. If there are issues between the church and the state, this is the bridge department of the church. And then the Adventist Health Ministries. Remember, health is the right hand of the gospel. If you are sick, you cannot preach the gospel. So the health ministries comes in. So PCM leaders must understand that we do not operate in isolation. And the word here is must. Hi, cousins. Makuzo mnalala. Kofiti. Kongangari sio. Sawa watu wangu. It is a must. Very important that we should not be found like stray arrows in institutions. Must understand that we do not operate in isolation. Collaboration is built into our DNA. You cannot separate collaboration from PCM. You must collaborate. The third objective is to ensure that we take initiative towards the focus areas. That means we have a route to follow. We don't just operate like that. PCM focuses its initiatives in 5 crucial discipleship areas. So when we are planning, we must ensure that our planning is meeting this criteria. And the 5 areas are spirituality. We must take care of the spiritual life of our students. Evangelism, going out to preach and even planting churches. But evangelism can even be internal. Evangelism, we have internal, which is personal. We have others, but evangelism as a whole. Intellectual challenge. Yes, we need to be challenged intellectually. We don't want to nurture people who are dwarfs in their heads. Community outreach, very important. We need to do it. Social integration of Adventists on non-Adventist campuses worldwide. We need to have that integration among ourselves and beyond ourselves. When you plan your PCM, like now we are going to do our calendar for the year 2026, ensure that your programs support these 5 pillars. Ensure that your program supports these 5 pillars. Part of the objectives that we still have is to have goals that bring us together. We call them cooperational goals. And in cooperational goals, we also have the 5 pillars of development, where we talk about cooperating with the church leaders at every level. PCM aims to accomplish the following. 1, to strengthen students' commitment to the Seventh-day Adventist beliefs and mission. I doubt whether our students go through our beliefs. Most of us don't understand our beliefs. The head is full of memorization of New King James Version and Ellen White writings. And the church has brought this now. It is a must before announcements. Every church should at least read one fundamental belief every Sabbath, because we don't know who we are. Prepare students to deal with intellectual challenges in secular environments. Develop the leadership abilities of students. Yes, we need to. That is why we need to allow them to choose their leaders, their deacons, their elders, and allow them to run the show. Actually, this is part of the youth ministry. And my understanding of youth ministry, it is ministry for the youth by the youths. So let us not go there and say, you children, you don't have direction. We are your mentors. You mentor by also allowing them to do that. I'm glad that we have ordained several elders, and they are here, some of them. Provide opportunities for Christian fellowship. Train students for outreach, mission, service, and witness on campus, in the church, and in the community. If your PCM ministry is not doing these 5 things, you must reassess your strategy. You must reassess your strategy. And that is why I said, yes, we have groups in our schools that are not necessarily PCM oriented, because they might not have structured themselves in this manner. Another objective is to ensure that there is mission involvement. PCM also partners with global mission agencies such as Adventist Volunteer Services, and this is an area that we are not doing well. Despite a very powerful seminar that was brought here, this thing is not yielding fruits. I don't know whether it is, but generally, even in our union, I've not seen it yielding fruits. We have a very powerful ministry that can empower our young people. How many have ever heard about AVS? The other day you came there with your Master Guide uniform when you were there. What have you done about it? Anyone who has tried to log in? Ilienda? Adventist Volunteer Services. it is there, creating opportunities for young people. Like you can volunteer to serve the church anywhere in the world. The site is there. You can come after this, we can show you. They want deans of schools, secondary school headmasters, teachers, everywhere in Africa and beyond. It is there. It is free. You just need to log in and see areas that you qualify. Some even need non-professionals, people who are not trained, plumbers, anything. They open chances. You just need to do that in liaison with your conference, and then you process and you go out as a missionary. You need to check that website. I'll check maybe before the end we can share. But there was a training by the division in Kisumu South last year on AVS. So we need to train, and one of our objectives is to ensure that our young people are involved in mission through Adventist Volunteer Services. ADRA. You know, what is ADRA? Adventist Development and Relief Agencies. We have one. You may call it the Red Cross of SD because we assist the vulnerable in the community. We can get involved in this mission. Like now, there is a mission involvement of supporting those who may not go to school by themselves. And sometimes back, the church was asking every member to give at least 100 bob that will go to a pool, a kitty. Then once they're identified, they can do that. Then we have Adventist Mission. And I know we have, in our colleges, we have run away from women ministries. Now we say ladies. Adventist Ladies Organization. I don't know why ladies run away from the being called women, but for me, I think woman is the best name for us, because someone told me woman means well-organized man. The difference is W-O, but you don't like to be well-organized men. You want to be ladies. So we can do mission in all that. Now, having looked at the vision, mission, motto, core values, and objectives, let us come to the last part of this presentation where we look at the operations and structure of PCM. And here we simply looking at how PCM is organized within the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Let's see how PCM follows the normal church governance structure. And here is the flow. We have the General Conference Youth Ministries. And by now we understand how PCM is enshrined in the youth ministry, because we said it is ministry number 5 in the youth ministry. When I said the youth ministry is organized into 2 major ministries, the junior and the senior, and we find that PCM is ministry number 5. So from there we come to the division PCM department, then union PCM department, and then from there we come to the conference or mission. Actually, there should be another slash here saying conference, mission, or field. Entities are very different. Mission, PCM department, and then we have the local church chaplain or pastor or elder. That's how the structure goes. Then we come to the local church or campus ministry leader or coordinator. Now, Someone mentioned something which is very serious, and all through I have known something, that if you want to hide something from an African, put it in writing. Because Africans, we don't like reading. And we do things based on what you heard your best preacher said or what your pastor said. PCM is enshrined in our church manual. And please, leaders, when you are in meetings, go to meetings informed. A church manual. It's not a pastor's manual. I have mine. It is called Minister's Handbook. Elders have theirs called Elder's Handbook. Church manual is for church members. And it is wrong for you to be sitting in a church, you are a leader, and you don't have a copy of the church manual, you don't read it, you don't know what is there. So someone mentioned here that during election they were told PCM is not in the church manual. Now let me read to you page 112 of the church manual. The Adventist Youth Ministries, AYM, Committee is the umbrella organization in the church for the general planning of youth ministry program. The AYM Committee includes the following church elected officers. Church elected officers: young adult leader, public campus ministry coordinator, ambassador leader, pathfinder director, adventurer director, plus personal ministries leader, health ministries leader, principal of schools, the AYM advisor, and the pastor. Those are the leaders in our church manual who are elected to spearhead this. And you can see all the departments that I've mentioned are listed in the church manual. So please let us not operate out of ignorance. And there is no sin of you raising a point of order in a very humble and respectful manner and challenge your leader on the floor. Because that way is misguiding the church of God. This means PCM has full church backing from the GC all the way down to the local church. That is to say, there is no valid reason for any church not to have a PCM leader, unless we are operating different churches. But for the Seventh-day Adventist, and you know, the church manual is the authority of the church. I may have my own opinion, but the voice of the church at the general conference in session is the church manual. Now, because you have seen that structure, let's now come to where we are, because now you are local church PCM leaders. Let us quickly see what happens there. The local PCM leader or coordinator plays roles. And as a local leader or the church leader of PCM, here are some of your roles. 1, sits on the church board. Why do you sit in that church board? To represent the ideas, to propagate the agenda, to propagate the mission objectives of PCM. That is why you are in the board. And please, leaders, when you go to the board, go after you have consulted with your council, so that you don't go to the board tabula rasa. You know why our agenda die on arrival? Especially if I'm your church pastor, you are in trouble. You don't come with unbaked things. Saying, in the agenda item we have PCM. Then you say, PCM leader, can you present? You start saying, We were thinking we can have a rally. No, I'll allow you to go think fast. The best way to make your agenda sail is if you have a council seat. Make your plan A to Z. And when you are called to present, you say, PCM, we sat as a council on this day, our proposals are tabled. Period. When it is looked upon, the dates are there, the venue is there, the speakers are proposed, everything is there, and the only thing that is required is anyone with the addition or subtraction, and you will hear people saying, question, let the youth do their things. But when you always come and you are thinking, my brother, Emmanuel, always thinking in the board, you want the board to cook for you things. We don't have that time. The board sits only for two hours. And you want us to start planning for you the Ambassadors Congress in Bond. When you are ready, do what? Present. And you know, when you are told go plan, then you will present, time is also doing what? It's also catching up with you. So work with your council. I've told you your council. I've read in 112 of the manual. Work with them, bake, bring food ready to serve for people to eat. Oversees all PCM operations. We now know what they are. Ensures that students are welcome. Like now, new students coming in are welcome. When they come home, they are welcome. Ensure the environment is conducive for them. Collects and maintains students' contact and information. Why is this important? You even need to know, together with the education department, who is doing exams and even encourage them. Know who is where and encourage them. Keeps connection with the alumni. They have what we call alumni associations. You keep connection with them. Continue to mentor them as their role models. They are a good sign that we were here, we made it, you can also make it. If this role fails, campus ministry breaks down. The local PCM leader is the bridge between the church and the campus. You have that responsibility. So, coming down the global supervisory body, as part of the structure, we have what we were told, the amicus, and that is at the highest level, PCM functions under amicus committee. And amicus, as we said, stands for Adventist Ministry to College and University Students. This committee exists especially to coordinate PCM at the General Conference level and ensure collaboration among departments. In closing, I want to say this to us, that as PCM leaders, we carry a sacred responsibility. Not just another responsibility. Actually, ours is the responsibility, because we are required to shape character of our young, our students, to collaborate with the wider church, and to lovingly challenge our students to grow. Our vision, our mission, our values, and our structure all work together to achieve this one great purpose. To that end, I'd like to say that every Adventist student on campus, yes.
Mashamba hapa. Tusimame. Let's do this energizer. Shamba mmekuja mtosha. A common song. Parachichi. Mnajua? Mnarepeat tu after mimi. Parachichi. Parachichi, papaya, tiki tiki maji, tunaweka at the left, si ndio? Okay? Aya, so you can even use a nini kuithrow, unaweka hapa. Then tikitiki maji, we are digging down here, tukiweka kwa basket. Then yote ni matunda, we are eating, right? Aya, twende. Parachichi. Parachichi. Papaya. Tikitiki maji. Twa. Tikitiki maji. Yote ni matunda. Let's do it. Yote ni matunda. Once more. Sure. And you get as high, as low, and you're good to go. So, aya. Parachichi. Parachichi. Papaya. Tikitiki maji. Yote ni matunda. Yote ni matunda. You want another one? Matunda imetosha, eh? Okay. Now, welcome to this class. It's a very short one. Follow me principle of public campus ministry. I'm your presenter. My name sio saying nilimwachia jina. But niliacha kitambo. I rarely use my Christian name. Reason, hata sitwangi na hii jina nyumbani. Then I have other names. Then I'm a proud African woman. I identify myself with my African names. Okay. Now follow me. How many have heard this method? Tuliongea asubuhi, follow me. Yes. Only one person. Okay, who used to say follow me? Jesus. No. Yeah, that's the same method that PCM has adopted. Anything, it is follow me. He went to when he was the disciples. Alikuwa naambia tu. He was not even forcing you. He was just telling them, follow me. Now, we've seen the 3 C's of campus ministry. The 3 C's are, the first C, second, third. Within that lies the follow me method of mentoring and discipleship. This is very essential in PCM and was reflected in Jesus' earthly ministry. We are seeing throughout the New Testament, Jesus repeatedly told his disciples, follow me. Now, the first F, I'm just going to give meaning. The first F means friendship, forgiveness, fellowship. This is what Jesus just emphasized. Friendship, forgiveness. Jesus' earthly ministry was filled with forgiveness, friendship, and fellowship. And Ellen White states that Christ's method alone will give through success in reaching the people. That is when we look at the book Ministry of Healing, page 143. And I want to tell you, forgiveness is very essential in developing, mentoring, and discipleship relationship with adolescents as they may face many life choices. Many times, these are people who just make decisions. Amefanya. What do you do? The best is to do what? Forgive. To Christ, there's no big or small sin. Choices in the public campus, you face a lot of options. We might make the right choices, we might make the wrong choices, but at the end of the day, example is forgiveness. How do we apply this principle? The friendship and fellowship with sinners. Jesus always fellowshipped and had friendship with what? Sinners. Starting from Mary Magdalene, going to what? Even the people who betrayed him, who's Judas Iscariot. And he showed his unconditional love for them. And even us, through this unconditional friendship and fellowship among students, professionals, and godly mentors that students may experience the love of what? Jesus. We said we are discipling, we are mentoring, and the best we can emphasize is what? Forgiveness. As young people, we do a lot of things that you even wonder why. But the best thing you can do is what? Forgive. The next principle is openness, honesty, and all stand for openness, honesty, sharing. Look at the earthly ministry of Jesus. It was filled with openness, honesty, and what? Sharing. Yesu alikuwa open. Alikuwa na dialogue with everyone. Look at when he went to the woman at the well. Jesus was so honest with the woman, and he never hesitated to engage in an open and honest dialogue with those who were outcast, neglected, abandoned, and alienated from others. And a writer known as John Mallison pointed out, the openness and honesty we will need to make effective mentoring relationships grows out of our openness and obedience to God. These are people who want us to be open with them, honest, and have, it's like this and this. Don't sugarcoat. State as it is. And students and professionals in a mentor/mentee relationship must create this environment in which there's open, honest sharing of positive or negative experiences, doubts, difficulties, accomplishment, and achievements. You are never there on one day. You made mistakes. We aren't perfect. Don't pretend that you have this perfect life when dealing with the students in our public campuses. Be open enough with them. Share the positive, share the negative. At the end of the day, you leave them with the decision to make their own decision, with the opportunity to make their own decision. Now, the third one in follow, FOLLOW. So the first L is love, agapao. Love that is what? Unconditional. Look at Jesus' ministry. He continually demonstrated self-renouncing love to those whose lives he touched. And Ellen White said that the glory shining in the face of Jesus is the glory of self-sacrificing love, and the law of self-renouncing love is the law of life for earth and heaven. That is in the book Desires of Ages, pages 20. In ministry to students and professionally in Adventist institutions, unconditional love is very, very essential. These are people who are looking for those who emulate Jesus' humility and lowliness, humbleness. Take yourself to their level. Try thinking like them. Try putting yourself in that situation. Not that you are here, you've already made it, you think everyone is like, pass through circumstances that You had a perfect life. Not everyone is privileged to have a perfect life. So take yourself to the level of Jesus. Jesus could go to that low level, to a level of talking to a prostitute. Who does that? And we apply this in the spirit of an open and honest relationship. Students and professionals must have an assurance of the unconditional love, acceptance, and grace of a mentor who demonstrates the lowliness and humility of who? Jesus. Remember, the key concept in Follow Me, we use it in discipling and what? Mentoring. We've talked of forgiveness, we've talked of openness, we've talked of love. We go to the second L, which is loyalty, long-suffering, and patience. When Jesus preached his sermon in the mountain, we all know in Matthew chapter 5 to 7, he's speaking about the importance of loyalty, urging people that no one can serve two masters. The same loyalty, Jesus is preaching it in the book of Matthew 6:24 and the book of Luke 16, verse 13. And Jesus expected his followers to trust him completely and to be loyal and to be faithful to him. Look at the relationship that he had with his disciples. He not only showed his love and compassion, but he also demonstrated patience and long-suffering. Imagine you know someone who's going to betray you. You're so patient with that person. Imagine at times where the disciples are telling him, I take John and James, whereby Jesus has taught people no one wants to do his will, but he's so patient enough. And John and James are telling him, send storm or thunder to fire these people. But what Jesus said, Jesus did not go that route. How do we apply this concept of Jesus? These qualities of loyalty, long-suffering, and patience must be unwavering demonstrated to students by their mentors. As you are mentoring, we need to be so loyal to them, long-suffering and patient. And these are essential in mentoring as students experience positive and negative consequences of the good or poor decisions they make in their spiritual journey. I said, campuses is like an ocean. A lot is coming with the ocean. You might be privileged to make the good decisions. You might be privileged to make the bad. But as a mentor, you need to understand this. Be patient enough to them. See, I may make mistake, umemdam. No, that was not Christ's methods. Now, the fifth one is obedience. Obedience. Jesus expected obedience from his followers. He said, whoever obeys my word will never see death. That is in the book of John 8:51. And when you look also in the book of John 14:23, Jesus also said, anyone who loves me will obey my teachings. How do we apply this? As Christian mentors, we must be obedient to God. And the same way we are obedient to God, we expect those who we are mentoring, our mentees, to also be obedient to who? God. Jesus commissioned his disciples to go and make disciples of all nations and teach them to obey commanded and taught. That is in the book of Matthew, chapter 28, verses 19 to 20. So obedience is very key. And it starts with you as a what? A mentor. I cannot expect my mentee to obey God. And me personally, I'm not obeying God. So we who are here have a very, very great responsibility of being what? Obedient to God. And just walk according to God's will and God's promises. W in follow is worship and witnessing. And I want to draw our attention to the book of Matthew, chapter 4, verse 10. Jesus said, "Worship the Lord your God and serve him only." What do we know about worship? We know worship like attending church, singing, praying, and listening to a sermon. But worshiping is recognizing God as our creator, our master, and our Lord, and giving homage to him. So I want us to change our notion about worship. It's not all about attending church, singing hymns, praying, and listening to a sermon. Okay? Now, when you look at this writer, John Middendorf, John Middendorf is trying to give us a different description of worship. In English, worship will give you that one definition. But when you look in Greek, those who've done Greek, I know our students of theology here have done Greek. They define worship differently. And worship has several meanings. And the original authors that this Middendorf, pointing out that worship is about the story of God's faithfulness and love as the inspiration and fuel powering true worshipful responses. So when you look at Greek, it has given worship a lot of things, not the one that you are used to know. So another important aspect of following Jesus is to be a witness. Worship and witnessing. Jesus said, "You are witnesses of these things." Look at the book of Acts 1:8, whereby he is telling the disciples are witnessing about who? Christ. The same book of the Bible, the book of Revelation 1:5, it's talking still about witnessing about Christ. That's all about worship and witnessing. So how do you apply it? Worship is very part of PCM. Both weekly and daily worship should be emphasized and practiced. Our students from Maseno, how often do you worship? Oh, okay, let me say that group, as a congregation. Wednesday, Fridays, and Saturdays, you're doing well, but you can do better than that. Because when you look at the true meaning of worship, is to recognize God as our creator, master, and give homage to him. Meaning, every day, every time, all through, we need to be worshiping God. And daily worship should be emphasized and practiced to pledge devotion and allegiance to the creator God. By turning it into a lifestyle, students will become connected to God and his body in the mission and what? We are in me. Me is modeling, mentoring, and discipling others. Modeling, mentoring, and discipling others. Jesus not only mentored his disciples, but also expected them to become mentors to others as well. Teaching and modeling are very essential in discipleship process. Jesus commanded his disciples to teach the world to obey everything he had commanded them. Look at Matthew 28, where we have been given an order by Christ to teach the world. And in the book of 1 Corinthians 11, verse 1, Paul commanded the Corinthians, "Be ye followers of me, even as I also am of what? Christ." How do you apply this? Godly mentors should be followers of Christ. They will be able to them as they also follow who? Christ. And also, in explaining legitimate peripheral participation, a writer by the name David C. North, showed that Jesus' method of teaching on earth was a model of apprenticeship. What is apprenticeship? There was a program in the TV, Apprentice. I don't know how many were privileged to watch it, but Christ wants that apprenticeship. Apprenticeship is keen on not only giving information, but it's keen on participating. Therefore, it's not so much the desired outcome of learning. When you talk about apprentice, yes, you'll be given information. Keen on how are you using the information? How are you applying that information in your daily lives? And you'll find you're given assignment, practical situations. You've learned this in class. You've learned to do business. You've learned to grow your business. You've learned this and this. But it wants you now to do what? Apply. Participate fully in community by engaging in what? Its practices. We are talking about Jesus doing this and that. You've learned that you should be doing this and that. But how are you applying it? How are we practicing it? It is more of doing what? Practicing. Yes, we've learned the information, but the best we can do is the best discipleship method is what? Apprenticeship. Finally, E, empowered to serve. Empowered to serve. Self-sacrifice and evangelize. Empowered to serve, self-sacrifice, and evangelized. Jesus taught the importance of service and self-sacrifice when he said, "He who loves his life will lose it, and he who hates his life in this world will keep it for eternal life." We also look at the book of John 12:25 and Matthew 16:24-25. You'll read it. But we are only seeing Jesus, when people come, what can we do? I've done everything. Jesus is saying, acha kila kitu, fanya nini? Unifuate. That is showing that Jesus wants that self-sacrifice. Are you ready to leave everything for the sake of who? Christ. Jesus expected his disciples to follow his path and suffer as he did. All 10 of Jesus' disciples, except John, the beloved, and Judas Iscariot, died as what? Martyrs. True or false? All of them, all the disciples of Jesus, they died as what? Martyrs. We can also, when you look at the book of 1 Peter 2:21, it talks about if you are a witness of Christ, it's not easy. You'll face everything, but you need not to do what? Waver. Helen White is making an observation that following Christ as spoken of in these words is not a pretense. Jesus expects his disciples to follow closely in his footsteps, enduring what he endured, suffering what he suffered, overcoming as he did what? Overcame. That is in the book of Reflecting Christ, page 230. So how do we apply it? Jesus bade us to go and bear fruit that will last. That is in the book of John 15:16. So Jesus appointed the 12 to send them out to preach. He demonstrated that following him is a process of action and service, not a life of stagnant faith. I want to finish by challenging us. Yes, we've been called to action and service. Let's not just sit there with our faith. Let us not stagnate with our faith. And in summary, to illustrate how Jesus mentioned and discipled those following him, Ellen White is writing, for 3 3.5. Remember, the ministry of Jesus was for how many years? 3.5. The disciples were under the instruction of the greatest teacher the world has ever known. By personal contact, by association, Christ trained them for his service. The moment Christ told the disciples, follow me, and they decided to follow me, they went everywhere with Jesus. They saw how Jesus was healing people. They saw how Jesus was feeding people. They were able to witness the sermons of Jesus. They were able to experience in the way Jesus was able to worship and even observe the Sabbath day. And Jesus did not command the disciple to do this or that, but just said, follow me. On his journeys throughout countries and cities, he took them with him so that they might see how he taught the people. How do you apply this in mentoring? When you're mentoring someone, walk with someone the journey. Let him see what you're doing. Remember, they are copying and emulating your action, your behavior, anything that you're doing. Be an example. Just like Jesus said, follow me. And the disciples were able to walk with Jesus. They were able to experience whatever Jesus underwent. And even finally, when Jesus went, they were able to do exactly what Jesus was doing. They traveled with him from place to place. They shared his frugal fare and were sometimes hungry and often weary like him. On the crowded streets by the lakeside, in the lonely desert, they were with him. They saw him even in every phase of life. That is when you look at the book of Acts of Apostles, 17 to 18. So, even with our mentors, as we are applying our mentoring and discipleship process, let us emulate Christ. Once someone has accepted, tell them, follow me. They will be able to share in your experiences. They will be able to emulate what you're doing. They will be able to understand that life is not that perfect. We are not all that perfect. We also make mistakes. But the main mission is to do what? Remain focused. So with that, I think you've finished. F, we've said, stands for. F stands for, let's say in a chorus, F stands for friendship, forgiveness, and fellowship. O, L, unconditional love. Okay? L, the second L, loyalty, long-suffering, and patience. Another O, obedience. W, worship, and M, mentoring. And finally, E, empowered to serve, self-sacrifice, and do what? Evangelism. So with that, can we be effective mentors with the principle? Can we be effective mentors? Thank you. You're finished. Questions at the end.
Good afternoon. We are now getting to the last class. We had a few alterations, and we have more. Elder Tyrus was to take us through this class, but we are lucky enough now that Pastor Obuya will take us through this class. It is now 3:20. Pastor, you can be done by 4, not to rush you.
You have said, Madam Principal.
Thank you. Thank you. So we welcome Pastor to take us through the last class in the next 40 minutes.
Thank you, Madam. Yeah. Good afternoon, brethren, once more. Yes, I think this one is I've just worked on it right now after Madam Principal told me to work on it. So it is not going to be, projected there. but I'll ensure that that is done because I was not able to do it as quickly as was required, but I'll make sure that it is projected there. Yeah, there is a staff which was prepared by my brother who is not here, whom I'm standing in for, but I just want to present mine so that we'll combine with that staff of his also, and we'll be able to glean so much out of the two presentations. We'll make sure that we project them. He has also done quite a commendable job, and I really want to appreciate that. Yes, now what I'm are 8 building blocks of public campus ministry. 8 building blocks of public campus ministries. When we talk of the building blocks, we are talking about the pillars of public campus ministries. Yes, we are talking about the pillars. We are talking about the foundations, the tenets, the real stones that uphold the PCM. So there are 8, and this is what we want to talk about, brothers and sisters. Now, we know, of course, by now we have understood so much about public campus ministries. We have talked about mission. We have talked about so many areas of public campus ministries. Now, it is very important that we get to know the pillars or the fundamentals, so to say, when we talk about these wonderful and great ministries. Yes, there is a need to understand on our side. There is also need to understand on the side of all other areas we have talked about. There are these stakeholders we have discussed that are so much concerned about PCM, and that is within the campus, within the community, and even within the church. Even our pastors, even our elders, our church members need to understand some of these very important fundamentals that we are talking about. Now, the first building block is the church. The first building block is the church, the congregation itself. The congregation is a very important block that supports PCM. We get to exist because we emanate from the church. We first get our birth through the church. The church is where most of us, of course, are baptized. Many of our students that we send to the campus, they go to the campus because they are in the Adventist church. So the church is very crucial when we talk about PCM. Without the church, PCM would be hanging, and PCM would not have a firm foundation. So that is the church, very, very important, brothers and sisters. That's why we have emphasized that there is need to create a great awareness about PCM in our local churches. You talk about PCM in many of our congregations, it is something that sounds like Greek. They don't understand. And therefore, we have a daunting task. We have a great task to ensure that every church member, and more so our leaders, because leaders are the reason for which any other program can be able to flourish. Without the understanding of our leaders in this subject or this ministry we call PCM, it will be very difficult for us to be able to fly. So that is the church. The congregation gives us support. Especially, we have talked about electing a PCM coordinator within the local church, which of course we have really tried to talk about it even among the clergy. In our meetings, we have talked about it several times, and I know some pastors have implemented this. They have done the elections on PCM coordinators. The only problem that is there, these people, some of them are elected and they don't understand their task. They seem not to understand their task. And that's why we learn from our presentation here that even someone who is elected to become a PCM coordinator must be somebody who is versed with the knowledge of PCM. We don't just choose for the sake of it. Yeah, we are told that this person, he sits on a church board, and is able to oversee all the operations of PCM within, and of course also focusing on the public campuses. It is recommended that such a person needs to be a person who is studying on a public campus. Because you choose a private campus student, that would be not in harmony with what we are talking about. We are talking about public campus. You choose somebody who is not going to school, or somebody who has no understanding about the campus, will not be succeeding. So it must be someone who is actually on campus, or somebody who has gone through the campus life and understands what happens there. That person will fit in that office quite well. And this person must also have passion. You know, this person that we choose must be able to have passion for working and coordinating, you know, these programs within the church, and ensuring that students, when they come back, they are well integrated into the church, and that harmony is there. There is no gap. When students come back, there's someone who is able to be able to bridge that gap so that there is nothing that is missing. That is the thing that this coordinator is supposed to do. Every church must be able to create an enabling environment for the students. That one we have said, we'll continue to overemphasize on that the environment must be very, very friendly. If it is not friendly, then definitely these students, they don't seem to cope well, you know, with the happenings of the church. So we must be able to create a very enabling environment for them. One of our, I think it was Mwalimu who was saying that in most of our churches, in the afternoon, you don't seem to see these students around. When they're on recess, right now most of them are on recess. We have programs that sometimes don't seem to address them. They feel left out. They feel idle, and therefore they don't attend our congregations. So we must ensure that we incorporate them in our programs. For sure, today we encourage that our church needs to become magnetic. We must be magnetic in the way we approach worship within our congregations. Magnetic in the sense that people are choked with so many cares. People have so many issues that bedevil them. People come to church so that they want to seek for solutions to their problems. And when we don't tailor our programs to be able to address the plight of those who come to worship, definitely it's not just the students we are talking about, but even other members of the congregation will not be willing to come back because they don't seem to, get engaged and feel that they deserve to spend their hours within the pews of the church. So that is very, very important. Every conference or mission field must have a PCM director who works with the local churches in ensuring that trainings are promoted. Every kind of training that is needful is done. That's what we are trying to do. We have done quite well in this conference. I want to really thank God for that. In the whole Union of West Kenya, I think this should go viral, even if it has to. Central Nyanza Conference is right in the forefront, and we have done so well. And I really want to appreciate Sister Benta. I want to appreciate Elder Ojuki, Elijah. I want to appreciate the entire team, Tony and Brother Emmanuel, Pastor Mogusu. These people have really carried the banner. They have really propelled mission. And PCM, you talk about PCM in the entire union, they will refer you to places like Central Nyanza and Northwest Nyanza Field. Those are places where PCM, people understand, and it is working, it's doing very well. So this is as a result of the support from the conference PCM director. Some of these things, if the leader does not shout about it, they just die natural deaths. But if the leader is out there to promote it, people will pick it up and it will move quite well. The value of PCM-friendly church is to foster relationship, spiritual growth, mission, and empowerment. That is the reason why we should be able to have that friendly church for PCM, to ensure that there is that relationship that is promoted, there is spiritual growth for our students when they come back, we also empower them in all other areas so that they can be able to work for God. Then the second building block is the campus itself. That is the second building block. I've said there that the campus is the pivot point. It is like the cradle. That is the area of operation for PCM. We talk of the church, we talk of the community, but where this ministry is highly, highly established is the campus. That's where the ministry is meant to make a difference, the campus. So that those who are Adventist students are supposed to impact positively on the non-Adventist students on campus so that they are brought to Christ. They are preached to, they are taught, and they are encouraged to become Adventist. And not just Adventist students only. We also talk about the staff that are Adventists within our campuses. We have lecturers, we have our teachers. These are also people who are part and parcel of the PCM. They are meant also to entice other fellow staffs to be able to be part and parcel of the mission of PCM. That is the campus. The campus is very, very crucial in this area. The leadership at all levels of the church, that is from GC all the way to the local church, must be able to ensure that every public campus is supported. We must have a network whereby we pray for these campuses, we visit them, and we are ensuring that the students there have a real meaning for being there. Then we talk of what we call incentivizing programs. Incentivizing, these are incentives. We must have programs that not only add value in terms of spiritual aspects, but also add value in terms of ensuring that the students, are awarded for what they are doing for Christ. These are young disciples. They need to be given some sort of incentives. And when we talk of incentives here, we are talking of very simple things. Very simple things. The conference can organize and be able to mobilize resources to support the campus in terms of bringing manuals. Because these are students, they have no income. We can organize, we bring them Bibles. We bring them fundamental beliefs of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. These are things they can use to reach out to other students. This is what we are talking about. This is the incentive that these students are asking for. They're not asking for cash. They're not asking for anything. But they're asking for something that can be able to aid, their programs of evangelizing within the campus. We talk of incentives. We talk of things like awarding certificates of recognition. This is supposed to be done. As a conference, like right now, I have a list of students in one of our TVET institutions that I'm going to prepare certificates for them tomorrow because they are exiting, they are graduating. And they just need to be recognized that they were there and they were involved in the mission. They were part of the campus ministry. This one we must do. Maseno University, make sure that you are on the heels of Pastor Mugusu so that you don't leave there without a certificate to confirm that you are doing something there for Christ. These things are very important. I remember when I left Miranda High School, and in my leaving certificate, the principal then wrote a statement that made me, have very easy time when I was hustling. Because wherever I presented my leaving certificate and they were looking at it, they were saying, this is the right man we want. And I would easily get employment. Until at the last employment point, I was asked to go to become a church elder or a church pastor because they said, with this leaving certificate, you are doing nothing here. And that's how I became a pastor. Hallelujah. Yeah, that's how I became a pastor. Because the interviewer just told me, my friend, with this leaving certificate, you better go where you are supposed to be. That's how beautiful it is. Some of these things, they are added advantages. They can add value to your interviews when you go searching or looking for a job. Because campuses are full of corruption and students are not, most of them are not trusted. So when they realize that this one was a Christian who was promoting Christian values and the certificate is here, I tell you, they will give you the first consideration. Those are the incentives that we are talking about. We are talking about the staff within the campus that should be able to use their resources to support the students so that when we have parties, they can be able to take our issues to the administration because there is always a location for every religious group within the campus. They can take our issues to the administration. We are given summer location. We organize our parties. We want to go for rallies. We are given a bus to go for rallies. These are the incentives we are talking about within the campus. And these are only possible if we have a vibrant public campus ministries within the campus where all of us are fully engaged. The building block number 3 is what we call the community. The community. When we talk of the community, we are talking about mentorship, brothers and sisters. Here we are talking about mentorship programs. Yeah. Union all the way to the conference, we are called upon to ensure that we build or we establish mentorship programs so that we have mentors who are able to take care of various mentees to grow to become mentors. Like the program we are now here, part of the objective that we want to underscore is the objective of mentorship. Because once we leave this place, we are going to tell others about PCM, and we are going to become trainer of trainers. We are going to become TOTs. It's going to be very easy for us to be able to pick on one or two and we mentor on them. The youth program, I really thank God for the leaders who are here, Sister Arua, and all other leaders who are here. I can see Brother Koaga, Sister Lisi, and Brother John Oyoga. These are people who understand mentorship is all about. Because in other areas like Master Guide and even senior youth leadership programs, this program of mentorship. So it will easily work well once we have picked up having mentors who are able to take care of mentees will not be an issue here, especially when we will begin the study programs like the competency certification programs that I think we are supposed to begin very, very soon. It will become very, very easy for us. So that is all about mentorship. Christianity is about mentorship, brothers and sisters. I've seen in this church people destroying one another. You just see a church leader like myself destroying a youth. You just destroy a youth and you disorganize a youth. You mesmerize a youth for no good reason. The pulpit, and you just antagonize. You just, seem to be hating someone. And this is a young church, so that you can be able to help him or her. Yeah. You are a leader. You are supposed to help those who are your subjects. Why should you demonize? When we talk of mentorship, we are saying that this should be able to take care of every sphere, so that when you are year 1, when you are year 2, and somebody has come a fresher in year 1, choose to be a mentor of year 1 so that this person can grow to become as strong as you are. I remember in my high school, during those days we had Form 6. And when I got into school, because I'm a born Adventist, I went to high school when I was an Adventist, even though I was young, I had not been baptized. And there's one gentleman from Karachuonyo. I remember him very well. He was in Form 6. He saw me. And when he saw me, he decided to mentor me. So I was given mandate of being the chairman of the SDA group in Form 3. as a Form 1. I was a Form 1, but in Term 3, sorry. A Form 1 in Term 3, and I had the mandate of chairing the club, the SDA club in a high school, and I was chairing this club with all the Form 5 and Form 6. They were all there. And they just said, you just pick it up. That's why in my leaving certificate, if I show you, you'll be surprised what the principal wrote about me. Because already they were seeing that this is somebody we can mentor. And I really want to thank God for that. They mentored me, and I was able to make it where I am today. So that's what we are supposed to do. Mentorship program. Very, very important. Very, very important indeed. Then building block number 4. I'm going very fast. These things you'll have access to them because I was given 40 minutes, and I want to ensure that I'm so much committed to keeping that time. Block number 4 is the chaplains and the PCM leaders. Pastor Mugusu rightly said that we don't have chaplains within our campuses. He rightly said that, and it is true. Yeah, chaplains, these are people who must hold what we call a ministerial license, or those who have commissioned ministerial credentials. Like my Pastor Mugusu has got what we call a ministerial credential. That is the highest that a pastor can receive within the Seventh-day Adventist Church. He has the ministerial credential. So the least can be commissioned credential or something of the sort. Now, here we are saying that we need to have people who are qualified to be able to handle matters of religion within our campuses. And this is lacking in this conference. We are really praying that God will help us to reach this level. When you go to some conferences, like South Kenya Conference, to be specific, and even Nyamira Conference, to be specific, and today Central Kenya Conference, they have pastors who are trained and are serving in public institutions. And they are paid. They are paid. I had a principal, while I was serving as the education director, I had a principal of one of our secondary schools, that is Olembo Secondary School, who told me point blank, Mr. Mugusu, he is a Kisii. So he told me point blank that, Pastor, before I came here, I was in a public school. We were paying our pastors to pray for us. And I want to begin this one here. And I'm going to ensure that we put a budget for this. But lo and behold, the government transferred him within no time. Akaenda katika mahali pengine. That is the principle I lost in that institution that would have started, this kind of program you're talking about. The church, the conference may not have enough resources, but there is room for these schools to create budget for chaplains. There is room for that. We have been with them, and I understand the Education Act because I've done it. I know it very well. So sometimes they don't do it because we have never asked for it. But if we ask for it, they will always allocate money. So that we have Pastor Mark Kapere here. There is no reason why Pastor Mark Kapere should not be a pastor of Turgem Secondary School. Should be able to serve as a chaplain there. It is allowed. It is within the government confines and regulations. It's allowed. So these are things we are going to push as a conference to ensure that before the church absorbs you fully as a full-fledged pastor within the conference, we can be able to use you to take care of our students within those public campuses. That is being a chaplain. Yeah. Then we have PCM leaders. This is why we are training you so that we can be able to have leaders who are qualified, leaders who have undergone what we call PCM competency certification, level 1 all the way to level 3, so that you can be able to have that knowledge. That is going to help us. That is still under mentorship. Then the fifth building block is what we call PCM manual and dialogue publication. PCM manual and dialogue publication. This is to promote dialogue within our institutions in terms of print and even within our digital platforms. We utilize the various platforms that we have including our PCM websites, so that we can be able to promote matters of PCM and also promote the aspect of dialogue. Engaging in dialogue is very, very important. This is a requirement within the PCM circles, that we must be able to have a dialogue, a journal kind of, a journal whereby we can be able to have dialogue, and this journal, we will not be able to have it physically printed because of the cost implications, but we can have it always online within the digital platforms that we have. So this dialogue is very key to us, because in this dialogue, we are able to engage and get to hear from various quarters. When my sister was presenting on the history and even the description of PCM, you are able to hear about what other people are doing elsewhere. Some of these things are incorporated within these publications we are talking about, so that we can be able to hear what is happening in the other side of the world. Then also in this respect, we are talking about the manuals, like we have the PCM manual, which you need to understand. This one, you need to read from the first to the last page so that you understand it fully, the manual. You cannot operate a car if you don't have the manual. It's not possible. You cannot operate anything without a manual. So make sure you understand our PCM manual. We also talk about a PCM handbook, which the church has made already. There's a PCM handbook. I think Benta has done so well to post it so that we can be able to have access to it. There is that student's handbook. We need to have access to it and be well abreast with it so that we understand. It also explains very crucial things. Yeah, we also have the devotional handbook for PCM. It comes in, I think it's a publication that comes regularly. I think in some, I don't know, quarterly, something like that. But we'll ensure, today the good news, you go to General Conference portal, especially PCM, you'll find everything. It is not like those days that we were not able to access some of these things. Today you can access, so long as you pray that God gives you something in the phone. How do we call it? Bundle, yes. If you have the bundle, you can access the whole world of PCM and some of this stuff of the church. Yes. So devotional handbook, very important. You'll find students writing very inspiring stories about what is happening in their various campuses. And this will really inspire you also to do the very best within your areas. Then the sixth building block is what we call operational system and structure. Operational system and structure. We are called upon to contextualize. That's a very strong word. To contextualize is to bring to our level. Within our settings, we are supposed to ensure that all these things we are talking about, what happens in the US sometimes may not happen 100% within Africa. And what happens within Nigeria may not 100% happen within Kenya. So we have to contextualize, considering even the government protocols and legislations, what my sister was talking about when she was explaining her perspective of the Western world and our perspective. So we must make sure that we contextualize, so that we don't interfere with the authorities when we are talking about this ministry of PCM. And then also the aspect of partnership is also very key. We have talked about this. PCM cannot stand alone. We are not an island. We have to collaborate with other departments to ensure that we work together hand in hand as we continue to work for Christ within this confine. It also utilizing local PCM leaders or coordinators, making good use of them so that they are also able to prepare the church well, the church members, board members, and all those other people very well. Yeah, that is collaboration. We don't work alone. We work together. This is very important. And I want to encourage you, my dear brothers and sisters, you respect the church. The authority of the church, you just respect. Sometimes you don't have to compromise and do something bad, but you respect. Respect, they say it's a two-way what? It's a two-way traffic. Yeah, we don't want to have situations where we are into loggerheads with the leadership of the church. The pastor, the pastor may not understand PCM, but just show respect. But again, now you have the leadership of the conference. You can share with them. And through that, we are able to reach out to the pastor within that particular area and be able to see how we can be able to help. This one we have done in several instances without provoking anybody. Because our pastors, some of them don't understand this thing because it's a new thing. So they may not be able to support you in certain things when you come up with some request. But now what do? Share with other leaders so that we can be able to reach and help and be able to make them understand what it's all about. Like I had a case in one of our institutions where one of our, I think it's a TVET institution, tertiary institution, where the pastor was insisting that this, after I had gone to organize the congregation there, so that they can be able to worship, now the pastor said that this is now our church. It is part of the church. And you do everything as a church. You know, it is not possible. How the church operates outside there is not possible how you people operate within the institution. So what happened, the patron was not happy. So the patron left. And after he left, he decided to go and incite the administration. Then the administration said, if now they can fully stand on their own as a church, we have nothing to do with them. All the allocations, all the college bus and all the other things, they were not receiving. So other religious groups are going out, they are supported. But when it comes to Seventh-day Adventist Church, they tell them, you are a full church, you are standing on your own, support yourself. Why? Because the pastor had made a declaration which reached the administration, and then now these people thought that this is our institution. How can the SDA church come and dictate us here, that now they are having their church here? How? You know, with them, they look at you as just a religious, as a club. That's how they look at you. But the moment I go there and declare that you are a full church, they will leave you and you'll be in trouble. So these are the things we are talking about that we always want to ensure that we don't make those mistakes and we ensure that we collaborate, we cooperate, and work together with those leaders so that we can be able to move on very well. The building block 7 is about identity. It's about student identity as an Adventist. We are called upon to promote programs that build leadership and ensure that we are able to have leaders who can steer these students in the matters of spiritual life and other aspects of mission. That is identity. Now, when we talk of identity also, we are also referring to our fundamentals. We must promote our fundamentals within the institutions. The fundamentals are 8 in total. Those 8 fundamentals, we must promote them. That is what we do when we are in the campus. Let's promote that. We are talking about our heritage. The church heritage, of course, that is all about fundamentals and all other, our beliefs and things like that. We talk of apologetics. Apologetics are like the beliefs, also the dogmas of the church. We must promote that. We have our system, our way of doing things. We cannot be able to deviate from that. When they come to campus, let them see a similarity of what happens when they are back at home. Then they will say, for sure, we identify with this. But if you want to make everything different all of a sudden, it makes some of them to shy away. Yeah, our heritage and our apologetics, very, very important. Then we have, within this area, Block 7, we have the mission projects. The students are supposed to be engaged in exchange programs between the campuses so that they are able to do evangelism. Yeah, that is on mission. Keep a track of all PCM meetings within the church circle. We talk of conventions, we talk of congresses, revivals, and rallies. Keep a good track of them so that you can be able to plan for them and attend. Because when we go there, come so energized, and we are ready to do even much more because of the exposure that we receive from there. So make sure you prepare for that. When you hear that we are going to Rwanda, it is you people who are supposed to go to Rwanda. When you hear that we are going to Lagos, it is you people who are supposed to go to where? To Lagos. Let only the leaders go, and yet it is a congress or a convention for the students. You are supposed to go. So make sure you keep track of that and you prepare to attend those meetings. They are very, very important for us. Then networking on social media is also very important today. Social media is very key, and therefore we must be able to. That is, there were how many blocks? 8. I'm in block what? Block 7. Wow. I was, can you give me block 8 so that I explain? Because in my notes, I've done up to block 7. Very good. Public and service and mission volunteer projects, very important. So there we are talking about evangelistic campaigns. When you talk of mission, mission within the campus and also mission without the campus. So we talk of evangelistic campaigns, which Maseno is doing very well. I really want to support that, and all other colleges are also trying their very best. Sembe Technical and Vocational Institute doing very well. Riat Up here is doing very well in that. Every year they organize, and even KMTCs we have around here, they organize missions and they go out to plant churches. That is service. We had also talked about Adventist volunteer services so that we can also be able to volunteer our services to other places which are unentered, and we go there and serve. The best way you can go to Iraq is through AVS. Don't fear that Saddam will kill you there. The God of heaven will protect you. And you go to Iraq or Iran. Those are places you just ask for, the church will support you. It's only that we fear. If you just ask that you want to go to Somalia to do God's work, you will be given support by the union and the division. And they will support you as a missionary so that you go and volunteer your service there. America ndio hautaenda vizuri because America wanasema iko na goodies sana. Wanataka uende mahali where there is need. Dire need for mission. Yes, that is AVS. On AVS is very important, and let us also have that in mind. Within that program also they are saying that we must have our itineraries or our calendars in good. Make sure you prepare calendars for the year for mission and service. Every year you sit and you prepare the calendar so that you don't just work for God haphazardly. You plan well, looking at what is happening outside there. You incorporate and you come up with a very comprehensive calendar. What our leaders, Emmanuel and Benta, have been working on, except they cry on the wall and sometimes we don't even seem to be concerned. I am happy some institutions responded so that we are able to have your calendars and see what you people are planning to do. That kind of program is also good to ensure that we do mission in a well and harmonized way. Asante sana for listening, and I say that God may bless you. Amen.
Good evening. Thank you so much, Pastor. That was a wonderful presentation. I wonder what you would have done if we'd have given you much more notice than that. Would you believe he prepared that in less than an hour? Thank you so much for stepping in. Now we are in the last part of this. Ezra, we can go offline. Thank you, our viewers. Bye.